Recording. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the today's use case team of ODTN. So I want to first start off with the agenda and a little note on next week's meeting. So next week I'm not going to be available because I am going to SDN NFV Congress, Layer 1 to 3 in The Hague. So unless somebody is willing to pick up the meeting duty and responsibility to send out the email and start the meeting and record it and go through the agenda, I will cancel it. Last time it was Arturo who did this. I might send him an email or send an email to Hiroki and see if one of them could host the meeting. Otherwise, be aware that it might get cancelled. And so that was just that announcement over there. And it might get cancelled due to me being in a SDNLP conference. By the way, is anybody attending that?
No.
Okay.
Sorry?
No, nothing. And the problem is that also the following week, I will not be available to host the meeting because I will be in TIP conference in London. So at least one of the two, I think it should be hosted by somebody because I don't want to cancel two meetings in a row. That would be very bad in my opinion. So I'll try to follow up with Arturo and or Hiroki to see if they can host the meeting on Tuesday or the next Tuesday. And if anybody's coming to TIP, which I believe some of you are actually, we might see you there. Okay. So next point on the agenda is the ONF Connect call for presentations. I know that Dominique and Juan and the Nokia team sent two proposals. That's great. I've taken a look at them and they're pretty much interesting, both of them. I actually have a question regarding the demo, but I have deferred that to a later point in the agenda, which I put there. Okay, third point, which I want to discuss with all of you guys, is this document, which is called ODTN OFC demo proposal. So this is a demo that a demo proposal for the OFC conference demo slot that we discussed last week. I put together this for the content with ODTN. Ramon, I think you are somewhat involved with OFC, correct?
Yeah, and in this case, I'm chairing the demo session as well. Yeah.
Okay,
So it's likely that I will review this proposal.
Okay, so since you will already review it when I submit it, can I ask you to have an idea if I properly kept the structure of the proposal, because it was asked 3 pages. It's exactly 3 pages with abstract.
No, wait a second. There is a template for OFC.
Yes,
And
you
this
need
is
to
not
follow
one.
a template. We submitted a demo last year, and you have to follow. Go to the website, get the template, and fill it under the appropriate template format. And it's very slick.
I see.
Sorry. I wanted to say that if you go to the OFC, maybe I can find you the link in the meantime. If you go to the OFC conference, that is a template for Word. It's very specific with the margins. It's like a conference paper. So you have to follow that template. Free form like this, it will be rejected immediately. And then you have to stick to 3 pages in that template. And there is a process to submit as if you were submitting a software conference.
Yes.
A paper conference.
Technical paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
One question that I have is, nonetheless, I will port it to that format, but could you guys start reviewing the content that I put in? Because it's, it's our effort, and I want everybody to review it before I submit it. One point that I want to make is that I kept it general enough, in my opinion, that it does not put us in a position where we have to choose if we are going to bring an OLS or a set of RODUM devices. Because...
sorry, before going on, I can give you experience because I've been organizing this for 3 years. We are aware that what people submit and what ends up being demoed, it's open, because in fact you submit for October 9 and you end up demo if accepted on March. So people play with this. It's part of the game. However, there is a committee of experts ranking the demos and putting like an OFC, like another subcommittee. I'm in N3 and in the demo, and you score this from 1 to 6, and then you average, and people average based, people score based on the actual details and real measurements or figures even of the demo. So this is important because in its current form, it's a bit too white paperish. So it's not a matter of ODTN is so great and it's so good and we're doing lots of things and leaving open the demo. Maybe if you can have access to the proceedings of the last year, maybe you can see already proposed and accepted demos. So just to give you,
I don't have access.
Maybe I can, yeah.
I can send you the one that we did for the Infinera Facebook tip. And this was it was a video presentation during the demonstration. We didn't bring the equipment; it's too complicated. Too complicated to bring the equipment, so we just did a video presentation and on it. So I can send you our request that, and that was the in the SDN demo room.
Yeah, SDN NFV, the one with Marco Renzi from Facebook, I think. Was
No,
that one?
That was me and Farouk, Omar Farouk from Infinera.
Okay, no, then I'm mixing it with the one from Facebook. They also had another demo then.
Okay, that's not that one. So our was a video presentation. We were presenting the demonstration that we did in the lab.
You shouldn't say this, of course. You shouldn't say it's a demo. People, a video. I mean, this is fine once you're there, but people are expecting somehow like a trade-off between bringing equipments and real-time demos are more appreciated. I'm aware that people do videos in case of backup or because it's complicated. No, I'm just talking to Andrea generically. Yeah? It's like you shouldn't say we will present a video of our demo. No, this is rejected because they are supposed to be somehow live demos that you can you can do there. So yeah, my feedback was go ahead, please. Sorry.
We had other demo where we were connected remotely to the lab and doing a real-time presentation during the demo aspect.
That's perfectly accepted. Yeah.
That was like from another demonstration that we were doing that. That one it was like not possible because it's too much equipment involved in the system, so we had to have a backup. But if you can have, we have access to remote connection, and we were able to connect to our ON.Lab.
Okay.
Let me see if I can see an example. Can I share the screen somehow?
Sure. Let me make you presenter, and here. Come on, make presenter. Here you should have the rights.
Okay. Do you see something?
Yes. It's a Chrome tab.
No, then I have multiple
Okay,
windows. I don't know.
now you're bringing in. Now you brought in that. It's perfect. Now.
Okay. No, because I have multiple windows. So this is last year. It was just 2 pages, but we changed it to 3. This is confidential, but anyway. So this is
Fine.
the kind of what people expect from a demo proposal. Now it's 3 pages, so it really looks like a conference paper. You have your references, your figures, your details. Let me see if I have another one. This is another one that was, I think, accepted. So you really look like
Yeah, a proposal. Okay. Yeah.
a scientific paper that happens to be presented real time in a demo session. So
I see.
what you have now, it's good as a skeleton, but it needs one to follow the template. I will Google it now where you can find it.
Thanks.
And then you have to be a bit concrete and specific. It's good that you have the sections like in that I read before on this OFC relevance and this one also innovation section. This can be maybe reduced. You will play with the space now they have, but really this overview. I'm being frankly speaking, because we're in a closed scenario. This is a reject because not enough details, too generic.
Okay.
So if for example, if it was a demo proposal of phase 1, where you show a figure with the transceivers and you talk about OpenConfig and ONOS, and eventually you put a capture of the REST conf, and this is much more valuable.
I see.
And as I saw you before, this is example of demos. They have several more, but they all have like I'm opening the same ones again and again.
So last year ONF had one demo, I think. ONOS had one demo, right? Someone?
2 years ago. Last year, I talked to, of course, wait a second. ONOS as controller was used in multiple demos. This is good. It was used in probably 4 or 5 demos, but there was no official ONF or ODTN demo. And I talked to Mark.
I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago it was, but last year it wasn't, and Mark was busy and then couldn't. But anyway, you see how they look like. So if you could propose a demo proposal with what you have here as a starting point, but then detailing a bit more, what components, what are you testing, and if you already did the demo and you have already captures that you can put, it's even better. We know that not everything that it's put in the demo will be done because people play with the time that they have, but it has to be much more detailed than it is now. I read the text, so if you want my feedback, this is fine in addition to. And I think that if you check the template that I will send you now, you have still space to put more scientific or more technical contributions.
Okay.
Okay, I can stop sharing. Okay, and I will now Google these.
Yes. I can show you, Andrea, the one that we did. That is most like it's related to ODTN. It's like the ODTN case, the control of multi-vendor disaggregated network or the L0 network. I can send it.
Yeah, if you could send it to me, that would be great, so I can take a look and model that mine on top of yours. So thanks for the feedback.
Just bear in mind that it's 3 pages now. Last year it was 2
page,
and now it's 3, as far as I know.
That's good. We can put more text, more figure, more figure, and more text. That's thing. It's tough to build it in 2 page.
Okay. Let's go back to the agenda and figure out.
What's the closing date for the submittal of paper?
October the 9th. So I have a week.
Okay.
I think the week time frame is no problem. I just want to make sure the content looks right. So I'll maybe send out an email later in the week to make sure this is the right.
Other suggestions is that it's very valued if it's multi-partner, which I expect it to be, of course, because it's not
Exactly. To that point, who should the authors be? Because it's a good question. I could put everybody, but really, realistically, it's not everybody. I mean, it's a political decision that I don't know.
Less will be better for you because you have to go and get reference when you do the submittal.
Ah,
So you need to log in and get the number, and there's a lot of things to do. Just plan to log in earlier so you don't have the surprise at the end on the 9.
okay.
Just to give you a macroscopic overview, these kind of papers, demos are usually authored between 3 and 9 people, just an order of magnitude. And it's really people who are involved in the demo, plus someone who has read the demo and commented on it, plus
Mhm.
eventually the big department boss who is funding the travel or that kind of things. So
Okay, I see. Okay, let me figure that out and maybe talk to Bill and see what's the best course of action there. Okay, thanks for the feedback. I'll update that. Okay, so next point, state of TAPI 2.1. So as per discussion yesterday in the use case steering team, and I believe per today's call, sorry if I couldn't join, TAPI RC3 is out as per yesterday night, and please, TAPI team, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, not yet. Not yet. It'll be out today. RC3 will be out today. It's procedural delays.
And that triggers the 2 weeks until release date.
Right.
Because that is the process of the TAPI team. That then expected release, it's gonna be October the 16th, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I want to point out is that RC3 is the golden standard, meaning that nothing should be changed. It should change in that unless it's really for debug, really for like bugs, misspelled things, or like problems like that.
Yeah.
Those.
Yeah.
And so we can consider it ready for consumption both on the OLS side and on the ONOS side. Unfortunately, Hiroki's not here. I know that he's doing the upgrading of ONOS northbound to TAPI 2.1 RC. It was RC2, and now I will ask him to change to RC3. So that is the state of TAPI 2.1 RC and using ONOS. I know that the DCS had some issues. I've been working closely with Jordan Halterman to test those issues and make sure we have fixes. A Gerrit patch was already out. What we did was test that. It was not enough. And so we dug deeper and found that there was a bug in Atomic's tree backing structure. And yesterday night, we fixed that. Today, I partially tested it. I need to finish the testing, and I will also ask Jordan to test it again. If that is okay, we will need to do a release of Atomics, and that release of Atomics will be used in ONOS. And the first patch we did applied to it, and we will be good to go. So that is the next steps for fixing the DCS issue that we were having in ONOS. Okay, good. Having said that, I think Arturo, do you want to give us any update on the issues that you raised inside TAPI?
Hi, Andrea.
Hello.
Yes, basically, well, the status is that that according to the needs of ODTN phase 1.5, it was not required. The proposed amendments to the current modeling. Then, as there were an urgency of closing the models definition for the TAPI 2.1 release, there were no lot of chances to have a full review of the proposal that I made. And then something that I also said in the previous TAPI call that we had it today, the idea is to left this definition, this amendment or enhancements of the model regarding the physical impairment validation for a disaggregated optical channel for the next release of TAPI. I'm afraid just that maybe not for the physical validation, because physical impairment validation, because this is clear that it's not going to be out, that this is out of the scope of the current phase 1.5, but the power balance in a disaggregated environment, I don't have it clear that it is supported with the current modeling actually. This is something that it is included in my proposal, and I'm not 100% sure that it is something that it is supported right now with the current modeling. I don't know if someone else has take care about this, but
I can talk about it, Arturo, if you want.
Yeah, please.
Yes. So the current model is to pass services, but we're not doing any power control. We're not. It's not the intent of the first part of the model. It's like you want to be able to go and say, hey, I have a model where I can go and request the services and assign all the information associated with the services. Later on, we'll go and make stuff related to how we control the system. Is it a system that is manual control? Is it a system that is automatic control? If there's an OLS controller, the OLS controller is handled by himself the power management of the network. Like right now, is just picking up the services and letting the OLS do his job. That's what we look.
Yeah, but at the end of the story, you need to configure the power that you are transmitting with the transponders. As soon as you don't have a specification about what is the actual attenuation, or at least the power range that is supported by the OLS in the media channel, you don't have any idea about which is the target output power that you need to configure in the transponders. So this is my fear actually, because in order to
that need to be exposed as a capability of an interface.
Right.
Demo.
No,
And so
I agree with that. That's why, Arturo, I was hoping that you would talk about it today, but you said we'll defer it.
Yeah,
I think I felt that you needed that power upper and lower threshold, not threshold, upper and lower values, at least, which is missing.
Yeah, Karthik, it maybe was my fault because I was with another urgency in that moment that that doesn't allow me to continue the discussion. But yeah, I mean,
maybe can we review it now here? Do we have time to look at it, at least that part? Since you are there, Stefan is there. Is Nigel on the call? Let's see.
Yeah, I will
see
be
Nigel, but anyway.
To spec the interface from in terms of power, you need to be able to spec what is the limit of what is acceptable from an interface. If I take any of the add-drop interface, we go to the power that we want to have. That will be the power associated to the NMC. So we go and spec what is the acceptable minimum power and the maximum power. You retrieve it from mostly a specification, because it's not something that you provision. It's something that is read from the system. We expose this information from the
NMC perspective. You expose this information, and then based on that information, this power range, you configure the transponder output power transmission, right?
So currently in our system, the orchestrator will go and configure the transponder because it's an open config interface in ODTN.
Yeah.
So orchestrator, we have a spec of a network, we have the characterization of a network. It's outside even the information that you retrieve from the network. The orchestrator still, I want to have this power at the transmitter. That's the current model.
So your model is that you first configure the transponders and then you configure the network media channel accordingly.
No, it's the thing is you need to retrieve from the OLS system, the OLS SDN, you need to retrieve what is the possible path that they give you. Because it's the one that do the frequency allocation of the SMC. So
yeah, but a part of the path and a part of the frequency slot that you select, there is this actual configuration of the transponder that requires, which is the target output power that you need to configure for the laser in order to reach or that the transmission is guaranteed. And then as a minimum, I will expect that the network media channel interface provide you the operative range, power range that is accepted in order to transmit the signal. So as a minimum transmission power that need to be received in the network media channel and a maximum tolerated by the system. Then based on that, you can adjust you are free to adapt the transmission power of your transponder within this range. This will be without considering, well, yes, this will be for me the minimum.
That's not sound right, Archo. Like people implement control loop on the OLS equipment. So you have an acceptable range, but we need to have a specific value. So when we do the planning of the system, we look at what is the characteristic of the input, the range, the minimum and maximum, what is supported. We have in the line system, we have nominal PSD for the line transmission. You backtrack all this stuff to the input line using all the loss, that characterization that you have in your node, and then you end up that that should be the target power that I need for my transmitter. So when we have that, then we supply the say the orchestrator and say, okay, when you request a service for this thing, you need to be able to go and pass. This is the target value that I want.
Okay, so it is also finer the specification that we should make, not only to specify which is the transmission total power range, but the actual expected transmission power that needs to be received.
Yes, not just the capability, but the expected receive power.
Okay. Yeah, I am checking about the proposal that I made. And then basically what I was proposing was to include a supportable transmission total power range, but also a required ingress total power range and required egress total power range in the service endpoints of the connectivity service related with the NMC. So this required ingress total power range can be changed by a value instead of a range, and maybe this is going to be more accurate what it is exactly expected in this kind of system. I mean, you will have a required ingress total power defined within the connectivity service endpoints.
But you do it for the DSR. So the DSR is from the L1 to the OTSI. So you make a request, but after that you need to do an update on your because it will be a two-phase transaction. So you do your
but it will be just related with a connectivity service for an NMC. So it will be only for the connectivity service that you create within the OLS.
So why a connectivity service will go and spec what is the input power?
Mm,
What's the reason to specify the input power?
yeah, you're right. Then there will be something that it is returned after you create the connectivity service. So I guess that it will be a definition for the connection endpoint.
Yeah, an update.
An update or information that it is contained with the connection endpoint that it is created associated to the connectivity service, right?
Yeah, we made the connectivity services. Then you can go and set up the transmitter. When you set up the transmitter, you set up the target power. Then you know what is the loss that you have in between your OTSI and your OLS system. Like if I'm a side and I have a 2-meter fiber, or if I'm remote at 10 kilometer, then I have a loss. I can go and calculate that element.
Yeah.
And then I can go and say, come back to the OLS system and say, okay, this is what we expect as a value, but normally the OLS expect a value. So you will get the expected value from the OLS. This is what I want.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Yeah. So we made the connectivity services request on the OLS. Then we go and read back. And we get oh, this is the expected value that they want, and then we set it up on the transmitter.
Okay. Then from the definition that I made, I don't know if you have the figure in order to present it, Andrea. Maybe we can see it there. It's going to be more clear for everyone. Yeah, it's there. Okay. Then at the level of the CIP, I think that it will be necessary to add two parameters, that it will be expected power ingress and expected power egress, right?
On the CEP, on the CCEP?
The CIP, connection endpoint.
Yes.
Okay, so I will include these two. My catch, it will be to remove any reference to the OSNR from now, because I think that there are two different problems, and maybe here I mix it and it's not a good idea. And the second thing is that, okay, for the
Arturo, before you go ahead,
yeah,
you meant SIP, right? You meant SIP, the blue.
No, I was meaning the connection endpoint.
Yes.
Because this is something that is dynamically created in the OLS when you create the NMC.
Okay. Okay. So you don't specify in the CSEP or in the SIP any capabilities, right? That was the argument.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, because my take here is that in the service interface point, you only have static information. You cannot, let's say,
capability. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
then,
you need that capability only if you are configuring on CSEP. If you're not configuring on CSEP, you don't need anything on SIP. And you don't. So right now the argument is we don't need anything on CSEP. That's the light green J, and you don't need anything on X. You only have on the yellow, right? That's the argument.
Yes, but just a little question that I would like to raise here, and then we close this. Regarding the capabilities that you have mentioned in the CSEP, don't you think that it will be possible maybe to request this required ingress total power range and egress total power range regarding the capabilities that you have or that you receive from the transponder. At least you can make this initial validation that the system is going to be compliant with the characteristics of your transceiver.
So that should come, like, those capability, because they are related to the physical interface, should come from the pool of the SMC. At SMC level, we can go and say, okay, this is what we expect as capability or range.
So it's not the capability. I think, Stefan, what Arturo wants to do is he wants to impose a constraint saying that, okay, this is my range.
Exactly.
That I want.
That,
on the request, on the OLS. On the OLS, is imposing a constraint on the OLS what to do.
Oh no, you cannot do that.
Why not?
Because the OLS expose the capability of what is accept.
Okay.
The transmitter can expose what is his range that is support.
Okay, let's do like this then. Then, I mean, my take here is that before to create the NMC, you have a constraint regarding the total power that can be transmitted from the transponder, from the disaggregated transponder, which need to be, I mean, at the end, the expected total power or ingress total power that you will receive in the ingress of the network media channel need to be within the range that the transponder is able to transmit. So this is a first requirement. That my take here, it will be, you could introduce a constraint into the CSEP regarding this required ingress total power range. The same for the egress. Then the OLS system is perfectly capable to decide if he can meet this constraint or not and provision in the NMC. I am wrong, Stefan?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
Because you did it in a reverse way. So the constraint, a transmitter
guys,
has.
I'm kind of sorry to put this debate a little bit on hold, but I need a couple more points on the agenda, and time is getting a little bit down.
Yes.
So finish your point, please, Stefan, and then I think this can be taken offline. And Arturo, you could update your proposal with your thoughts, and it can be commented on there. Sorry, Stefan, please finish your point, and then we can move on.
Okay, Arturo, we can go and organize a call together to discuss that issue.
I do agree. I send you a mail after the meeting and we organize.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thanks, guys, for the discussion, and I think it's valuable for us, but I don't want that to suck up all the time we have left for the meeting, because I still have 2 points to discuss. So the next point is I've done the update for the ports information on slide 15 here. Is it this one? I think. Oh, maybe it was this one. Maybe it was 14. Sorry, it was 14. Okay. Yes. So, Arturo, did you have time to take a look at this?
Sorry, no, I didn't have time.
Okay, because this is what we have agreed on the past meetings, and I just put it down and wrote it down in order for Ramon and the rest of the people that are working with us, that are doing the code, to have this set in stone for their development. So could I kindly ask everybody to review this by next week's meeting?
Yes, from my side, I will do it.
Okay, I can send everybody a reminder on the mailing list to do so. and put the link to the slides. Okay. Okay. The whole point was that we are expect the port to be tagged, and yes, the port as a one-to-one with the optical channel.
In the open config. Yeah.
In the open config, yes. Okay. So, yeah, please,
Andrea, I have to leave. I have another appointment. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, no,
Bye.
sure. Bye-bye, Stefan. Okay. Then I have a question for everybody. I know that last week at ECOC there were some demos that were using ONOS. I know that you guys at Nokia submitted a demo using ONOS, and all of these demos were using ROADM devices, not an ONS. So my question, and this goes back to the demo that we are going to do at OFC, is that since we don't currently have an OLS that we can work with and we can test with and that we can develop code for, I'm tempted on going to the direction of using ROADM devices, which people already did work on. But I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this.
The first question is, if you don't have an OLS, will you have an open ROADM?
I mean, it's not me that don't have an OLS. I mean, I know people that have open ROADM devices and are willing to share them and are willing to like do a demo. But and at least I know that there are devices out there that we can work with. But for the OLS, there is currently no OLS that somebody told me this is what we want in the deployment. I know, for example, Nokia have worked with Nokia ROADMs. I know that we have Lumentum ROADMs that are open ROADM capable. So I was wondering which is the way to go forward.
Well, I remember. Sorry, go ahead. You.
Dominic speaking. I think you make a good point, Andrea, on that. I think it makes perfectly sense because I think the question, as far as understood, is addressed to me. However, I need to check internally for that. But your question is interesting, important for us. We are Bell Labs. We are not vendors per se, but I need to check with Lubo. And I think Lubo is the person that first need to be aware that can have feedback. That's why I'm going to consult internally with that, and we will come back to you. This is on the things I can really. Yeah, go ahead.
Please go ahead, Dominic.
I would say personally, it's personal. It's not a Nokia part, but I do think it makes sense what you are pushing. As you understood, we have already done some implementation of open config. Yes, with inside with the wavelength router part inside ONOS to configure some Nokia ROADMs.
And we are happy to have the we are interested to have the multi-vendor demo.
Yes, this is the point. Yeah.
From Telefonica perspective, we from the beginning state that there is a value for us on implementing the partially disaggregated scenario with an OLS. We do understand that there could be maybe now on that need to be now the moment on which one vendor or at least make one step ahead on proposing themselves as a target for implementing the OLS part. But from our perspective, well, this is a scenario and a use case that we are very interested on, and that it has value by itself. If we, let's say, skip this part and go directly for the phase 2.0, we are missing something that is an important step for us.
I see.
Yes,
okay, that's
that's
perfectly.
It's a very important point that Arturo you raised, because in fact the fully disaggregated with Open RODEM control directly also raised many questions that today is still not solved, and we should at least make sure, especially including, as I understand here, the physical impairment model that we are going to use, specifically in the case of multi-vendor scenarios.
And Ramon speaking, I share somehow a bit the feeling of Arturo. From the very beginning of phase 1.5, it was at least clear to me that there was an interest from operators in phase 1.5. I agree that we do not have an OLS provider, and this is something that we have to work on. On the other hand, as you mentioned the ECOG demo, I was involved in that demo, and we have code for Open RODEM. It is planned to submit this code exactly to ODTN, because it was done in the context of no project, but we will push it to ODTN as soon as we reach phase 2. But my understanding is that there was a priority in fulfilling phase 1.5 because vendors see this as a very realistic scenario in the short term, regardless of whether we can use Open RODEM in the metro or blah, blah, blah. But at least 1.5 was, because I was interested in 2.0 when I joined the project, and it was said 2.0 will come, but we should fulfill 1.5 first.
Yes, and I agree completely to the fact that we should fulfill 1.5. But my question then becomes, and then goes back to Telefonica, and I will ask the same question to Hiroki from NTT, is that I cannot go forward with phase 1.5 if we don't have an OLS I can work with. If I don't have an OLS I can test against, if I don't have an OLS that exposes some APIs, there is no way forward for phase 1.5. So I'm really
okay. I had understood. Yeah. I had understood that the OLS would be emulated via some kind of I don't know, Docker, confd, resconf, TAPI implementation.
But at some point, for the demo, I cannot use an emulator, and the emulator would only reply to me yes to the requests.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It will not create any end-to-end connectivity, and to do so, I really need a physical element. As we did in phase 1.0, I need that NTT and Telefonica or whoever wants steps up and says, okay, I have this OLS in my environment that works with TAPI. I can work with, I can deploy ONOS on top of it and test it out with a pair of transponders. If we don't do this, it's phase 1.5 is not existing because we have no way to test it.
Yes, if I may, I have a question. In fact, it's a question I have. If we bypass the phase 1.5, but I don't think it's. I have several questions that is related to that. Is how and which physical impairment model we are going to use, level of abstraction we are going to consider for this phase 2.0, and this is. Maybe the point where I see some bypassing phase 1.5 might come into the blocking point for bypassing the phase 1.5.
I would agree that we should not bypass it, but I have to submit a proposal for a demo. And if I don't have anything to submit the proposal with, I'm not going to submit the proposal because the demo otherwise is empty. I would really need like an opinion from, for example, Arturo or from Hiroki, like, okay, this is something that we have and this is something that we want to work with.
Andrea, I do understand your request, and I think it is fine. I need to consult with the vendors that we are working on in this aggregation activities. We test for this. Then, from my point of view, it's fair that you ask this. I will translate this demand or this request to the people who we are working with, and based on that, I can give you an answer in the shorter time frame that I can. I hope next week. Otherwise,
Okay.
we'll be in 2. But you can take it as an action point for me.
Okay, yeah, that would be good because I would really like to do, let's say, a target deployment that it's going to be for phase 1.5. So, for example, you guys tested with the Nokia transponders, perfectly fine with those, and put an OLS in the middle. Call it out ADVA, I don't know, some OLS in there or in Finera, and that's our target deployment. That is something that we need to work with, and that is something that we're gonna use and test against. Because otherwise, we talk about phase 1.5 and we have discussions about the parameters and all of that stuff, but we never test against anything, which is wrong, in my opinion, at least. Okay,
You are
so
right.
let's do this. I'm gonna pursue this value with Hiroki and see what his opinion is. If Arturo, you can go forward with the people at Telefonica and your vendors and see what if anybody's willing to step up. That would be great too. I will also make a presentation of ODTN reference design to the technical leadership team inside ONF this week. So we might also get some feedback from those people on this specific use case of the OLS. Any other questions? Any other points? I mean, the rest of it is state of things, and I think we can defer that to next time. Okay. I mean, we are almost at the hour. Unless anybody has any more points, I think we can regroup next week. And since next week's meetings appears to be fairly important due to the release of TAPI and this discussion around the OLS and the Open Roadum, I will try to make it, even if I am at layer 1 to 3, and I will try to organize the meeting from there, even if I'm at the conference. I will let you guys know otherwise if I cannot make it or if I can't host the meeting. I will let you know. But I will try my best, and I think I can. I will be able to make the meeting next Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah, it will be important.
Okay. And for anything else, I'll send out an email. And so thanks everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great evening and a great day. Bye bye.
Okay.
Andrea, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.